Hey guys, welcome back to Book Reviews. I'm Nick Lowry. This is
Delaney Shelton.
And I'm Holden Osborne.
okay. Today's book we read Into the Wild. What did you guys think of the book?
I thought it was a great book.
I thought the book was really good. I thought it was super interesting, and I liked getting to read about all the places that he traveled and like all of the experiences that were had. Yeah, I thought it was a good book.
Holden?
I agree with Delaney on that one. I thought it was very, a very interesting book and a very interesting journey that he had, and the way that he went from the beginning all the way to the end, I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining. I love the parts where he was in Oregon. I just love Oregon so much.
Yeah.
What about, did you guys get the chance to watch the movie?
Yes.
We did.
I
That was
pretty
watched part
good.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
That was
Yeah.
really nice because then you could get like a visual on everything.
I mean, it wasn't exact, but
It was close,
like,
and it gave you good ideas on kind of what was happening and the emotions that were kind of into it.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to start off with is, like, his childhood upbringing, because I feel like that had a big factor in, like, why he wanted to start to just escape the society.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
travel.
I do think his childhood was one of the main reasons that he decided to get out
Yeah.
and kind of figure out his own way of living and figure out his own kind of.
And
Pathway
throughout
into
this
things.
book, he pretty much just, it was known that he just hated his father, didn't like anything about it. The
Yeah.
only thing he got from his father is, like, knowledge, and that's it.
Yeah.
They just wanted him to
Yeah.
be successful
Exactly.
and have
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
which he could be successful because his mind was wired for entrepreneuring,
Yeah. Definitely.
and that's a great mind
You can
to
tell
have.
too, like when the parents offered him, like they offered him so much money and success, like just free, like where they offered him a new car, but he doesn't take it because he doesn't feel that he needs it. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't need
Yeah.
it. They just keep offering him things rather than needs.
He really
Yeah.
focuses on his needs and not his wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
He
not.
doesn't want anything except freedom. And
Yeah. He's not big on like materialistic items.
yeah.
He would rather have like memories and the experience of traveling to like different places versus like a new car, a lot of money.
Yeah, which really goes in. So he read a lot of books, and one of he highlighted stuff and wrote in the margins of different books. And one of the highlighting quotes I think was, "Rather than love, rather than money and fame, give me truth."
Yeah.
And he really just like wanted purpose for truth, and like that's all he thought life was about, just the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
And that's why he went to Alaska, to try to find that truth, but he ended
Yeah.
up just finding a lonely death like most other people did when they went to Alaska.
Yeah. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
To actually go to Alaska, he traveled other places to gain experience, but before that, his father really affected his mind.
His
and-
father was really, really a big part of his whole journey. He was
'Cause-
kind of the final big push to get him
Yeah.
out there.
Because the father himself grew up poor and got rich when he grew up, and he didn't want his son to become poor. He wanted him to stay rich, but
Yeah.
his son didn't like that, and maybe that's why he didn't like it, because he grew up rich.
Yeah.
I think that a big thing is like his dad had a fear of his son being like he was when he was younger, and because he ended up being very wealthy, the dad, he wanted to just provide his son with everything that he never was able to receive from his parents, and Chris did not like that at all. Which I guess I know why, because he was never like a materialistic kind of person, and he didn't like the way that money changes people because he saw how it changed his dad. But,
I understand that, but I feel like at some point, like if you get offered a free car, like
Mhm.
I feel like it'd be pretty hard. Me myself, I feel like it'd be hard to turn
Yeah.
down.
I think he also like he was a very independent person, and I don't think he wanted the help of his parents to like he really wanted to like be his own person. And so I think he always rejected any offers his parents gave him because he kind of wanted to prove to them like I can do things without you. Like, I can manage to do this on my own, and I don't need your help.
When he starts his hike to the Alaskan interior, the guy that drove him up there offered him food, some boots, and I think a machete or something,
Yeah.
and he like
Mhm.
didn't want any of it, but he finally took food and the boots, but everything else he just didn't want. He burned all his money.
Yeah.
Going back on like where you, like piggybacking off of you where you said he's like
Mhm.
a very materialistic person and doesn't need a lot of stuff, just needs what he really truly needs.
Mhm.
You can tell by when he goes actually into Alaska and he goes off by himself. He doesn't have more than a big backpack and a gun
Yeah.
and a couple of
He
little
doesn't-
knives and stuff. He doesn't need much more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was even said that his backpack was not like fit for a heavy travel.
It was so
Yeah.
small. He didn't have a
Too
lot of
light.
stuff.
Yeah, he didn't have all of the essentials, and they were kind of like confused about it. But Chris didn't mind. He was just like very minimalistic and took what he thought he truly needed, and everything else he just left behind.
Yeah, he really believed in minimalism and individualism
Mhm.
as like stepping stones to his ideas of what his brain came up with.
Yeah.
So he gained his love for nature because his family went on family trips, took their sailboat to the Caribbean, I
Yep.
think, and just went on so many trips, and each trip he just fell in love with the wilderness more and more
Yeah.
and hated being back home.
Mhm.
So that's definitely where he got his love for the wilderness.
And you can also tell he's super into it by when he was selling his neighbors all of his vegetables
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
this individual entrepreneur mind.
that kind of stuff. He was kind of very into getting dirty, getting out there. Being away from inside was kind of his thing,
Yeah.
and it really shows throughout the whole book, of the whole time.
And like you said, it's definitely something that he like developed on his own. He did not get it from either of his parents. His sister didn't seem like the type who would do something like that. So from a young age, he was always super into the idea of like being out in the wild and not having to be around like. I think the biggest thing was he hated being around like all of the super like high class, like richer families because of his parents. Basically, he always grew up around like very wealthy, high class people, and he would always go to like dinners and events. And I think he really disliked being around those type of people and being in that environment. And he felt very,
I think he just liked being around certain people in general.
yeah. But I feel like he didn't, he felt as though he didn't belong in that environment with that group of people. He didn't feel like he was the same as them, didn't have the same morals and values as they did. So I think he always wanted to get away from that.
And then once he grew up and started doing his travels, he met different people, and each person kind of had their own view on, like, his parents. Like, the person he worked for at the grain elevator, like, said that if I was in his shoes, I would want to let my parents know where I am, and I would forgive them.
Yeah. I would probably do the same thing if I was in his shoes. I probably wouldn't go off as far as he did.
Because family's family, and
Yeah, family's always going to be there for your. It's like always something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Where he kind of just took off with no like.
saying of where he was.
Yeah, he just kind of left. He just.
And he only wrote his sister letters because they had a good.
They had a great connection. Like he was always the definition of an older brother, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He protected his sister and kept her away from when his parents were arguing, or he kind of always looked after her.
Yeah. Definitely.
So their bond just kind of grew more and more each day.
Yeah, they really, and it's not like the sister relied on him; they relied on each other.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
kind of kept each other sane. Like they kept
Yeah.
each other.
Mhm.
And his sister really monitored his, like, because he would kind of just talk without really thinking,
Yeah.
and he would start to argue with his parents, but then his sister would like grab his leg to make him
Yeah.
stop. And
Yeah, she
He
would
would
keep
listen.
him in check.
What do you think would change to make him stay?
Like if something changed, what do you think it would be if it to make him stay?
Yeah, like if he stayed, what would the change be?
I think the biggest push on him was his dad. So I think if his dad kind of mellowed out more, maybe didn't expect as much,
Yeah, didn't have as high expectations for
Um,
him.
and also didn't argue with his mom,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't like abuse him and his sister, then I think that would be a little bit more of a reason to stay for him, because I think his dad was big push to get him out of the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
talking about his sister, she wrote a book. It's in here on my phone. She wrote a book about like their childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You can read that. It's called The Wild Truth.
Yeah.
She wrote it after his death to kind of give some hindsight.
Give some
on it.
perspective and
Yeah.
kind of
More perspective.
let people know kind of what happened and why kind of he ran away. What was his main reason for it?
And
Yeah.
then another book or author that he really loved was Jack London,
Mm-hmm.
and it was even said in this book that he became a protagonist in one of Jack London's book
Mm-hmm.
because he just went into the wild and escaped society, and that's kind of what Jack London wrote about, was traveling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think Jack London really kind of wanted his story to be, and his sister, kind of piggybacking off of that. We kind of wanted the story to kind of be more out there, kind of just
Yeah.
show reason to it, show
Like a
Show it
witness
more,
almost.
I guess, yeah.
I think.
I have a feeling nothing could change that
Right.
would make him stay. Maybe
Yeah.
I feel like the big enough change would be him just not going home but not escaping into the wilderness, and maybe
Yeah.
just buying an apartment or a house in another state.
I do
Yeah.
see where you're coming from, but I
traveling,
think I really think that his dad was kind of the reason
Yeah.
for it.
I-
Like,
I have kind of like I agree with both of them. I think that both of his parents had to do with him leaving. I think that they both put a lot of pressure on him to be this like picture perfect businessman who was extremely successful, very wealthy. So I think that if they hadn't been as hard on him and had such high expectations for him, I feel like he wouldn't have felt so like pressured to be this picture perfect person, which he knew at the end of the day he could never be. I also think that, like Mick said, I think that he definitely, either way, whether he grew up with super supportive, super loving parents, I think that he definitely would have still moved away, gone and traveled, but I don't think he would have done it to the extreme that he did.
Yeah, it was said that he could not stay in one place for over like a month.
Yeah,
He had to keep moving.
you had to keep moving, you had
And
to keep
he
going
left
around.
the thrill
That is true.
of
yeah.
not knowing
What was
where
next?
he was sleeping, not knowing where he was gonna
Yeah.
eat or what he was gonna eat.
Yeah, I do think he's definitely he was a wild soul, and there was no changing that.
Mm.
So it's hard to tell.
Okay.
So once he actually started traveling after college,
Mm-hmm.
he met a lot of people who gave him perspectives. And, well, another, like, an old guy who kind of tried to adopt him, but he
Yeah.
didn't like the closeness of relationships. He thought they were all like messy and didn't want to deal with them, so he avoided the question by saying, "We'll talk about it after my Alaskan journey." The only people he really found a good relationship with was a couple named Jan and Rainey, which were called rubber tramps because they lived in an RV and that was their home. They kind of were like the mother and father of him.
Yeah.
Basically, they like took him under their wing and showed him to a place called Slab City, which was like a haven for all those hippies, tramps, and hobos,
Yeah.
and they just had like flea markets there and concerts and just
Yeah.
lived and had fun.
Yeah.
It seems pretty entertaining to go there. I would like to
It does.
visit
If
there.
I were,
That'd be
I would
really
definitely like to go
Yeah.
do that someday. Like go venture off and see kind of what's going on in other places and like
Yeah.
just other towns and see how much different it is compared to
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
are now.
Because they definitely don't think of themselves as unlucky
No,
Or-
not at all.
deadbeats because they chose that life. Most
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
They go there instead of like begging like people do on city streets and
Yeah.
town
No,
streets.
I definitely think those people are extremely happy with where they are because they don't have worries like normal people do. Like they don't have to worry about paying rent and it being super expensive. They don't have to worry about people judging them because like literally nobody in that area is going to judge anyone. They're all just doing their own thing, happy to be there. So I think Chris really enjoyed his time there.
Mhm.
And at one point, he left Jan and Rainey and did his own thing for a while, but he ended up coming back and visiting them, which was super cool. So you could tell he definitely had some kind of attachment to them and that place.
Mhm.
So that was cool to see.
And the other relationship that he really fell into was the owner of a grain elevator in Carthage.
Mm-hmm.
He started working there his like end of his first year of traveling to get money so he could pay for supplies.
Mm-hmm.
He worked there 2 times, I believe, throughout his travels.
Yeah.
The second time was because he needed money to start his journey to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? Wayne.
Yeah.
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 Basically saw Wayne as a friend. Wayne was the one that said that no matter like how your family treats you, they are family.
Yeah.
And
He thought that he should go back
Yeah.
and let him know what was happening and
He
kind
thought
of
that-
figure it out with them, kind of let him
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
he thought that Chris was kind of dumb for not trying to fix things and be close with them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I kind of agree. And then
I would agree with that. But then at
Wayne's-
certain points when
yeah.
you see what's happening, there's like it seems like it'd be hard to fix that because his dad was super short tempered, and I feel like his dad didn't like being confronted.
And then Wayne's girlfriend, they were kind of off and on, but when she came back, she was really easy to talk to for Chris or Alex, whatever you call him.
Yeah.
So they like just stayed up late nights after Chris made like meals for them, and they just talked about society, family.
I think she really understood
Journeys.
kind of who he was and
Yeah.
what he was about, and it really helped him open up to her and let her know kind of his thoughts compared to a lot of other people, because
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of other people believed in what he was saying. Like
Yeah.
in a scene, Wayne didn't agree with what he was going to do and go to Alaska, and how you were saying earlier how he didn't agree to that he was just leaving his family. When his girlfriend kind of understood what he was talking about, he kind of
Mhm.
realized what he was going to do and how there was no stopping him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like the only one that he felt comfortable talking to about it, because everyone else he met wasn't really that smart
Yeah.
in the way of thinking like that. Like, she read similar books to what he read, not many people did,
Yeah.
because the books he did read, the authors are kind of known for not being very like subtle-minded, or
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
they kind of go around like the
They're pretty out there.
yeah, they're out there for ideas. And I actually find myself reading or wanting to read stories like that,
Yeah.
because I do find it interesting.
For
But
sure.
then again, I don't think I would ever do what he did.
I don't think I wouldn't go as far as you would do. I would
Yeah.
like to eventually go out and explore
Yeah.
and find stuff to do, but not go to a certain point where you barely have anything with you and you just go and try to survive in such a hard, like super gnarly place as
Yeah.
such as Alaska.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's cool to be able to like live vicariously through those people though by reading books like that. like you don't have to actually go and do all the things that Chris did, but you're able to read about it, and if you watch the movie, you're able to see like what it probably looked like for him. So I think that that's super cool and a pretty eye-opening thing. So.
Yeah, and I think we're running out of time. So thank you guys for joining us. And if you want to check out more podcasts about this book, you can check out theirs. They have their own, Holden Osborne and Delaney Shelton.
Yep.
Yeah, see you guys later. Next podcast.